Yo, this is Dark, and here's a boss guide for all the bosses in Act 1. Remember, these bosses can also be in the endgame for your maps and whatnot, and the cruel difficulty, they're a little more difficult, so knowing the mechanics and learning them early on is better than dying later on. Know what I'm saying? Let's get to it. Starting off with the tutorial boss, the Bloated Miller. He'll be doing charges at you, so make sure you're walking away from those. And then indicated when he turns red, he'll be doing a frontal slam line attack that's not blockable, so make sure you are rolling out of that when he does that. And then his last thing he does, very simple, is he'll yell and he'll summon a bunch of ads. So you got your AoE abilities at the beginning of the game, like I have Spark here. You want to just be burning those down while you're burning the boss's butt cheeks. Up next is the Devourer. When the Devourer turns red, he'll be doing an AoE slam in front of him. Make sure you're rolling out of that. It's unblockable. He'll also be moving around the arena going underground. Sometimes he'll go underground and they'll be indicated by a red circle of where he's popping out of. And it's usually on top of you, so make sure you're getting out of that as well. And at the same time, he'll be summoning ads as he comes out of the ground. Then you're going to want to watch out for his poison volley. If you get beamed by all of this poison, you're probably going to die. And throughout the fight, the tail is going to be spawning and attacking you, doing some sweeps and slams. Make sure you're just dodging that bad boy. He also has a poison nova that he sprays across the whole arena. Make sure you're dodging that. And then kill his ass. Beira of the Rotten Pack is up next, and she will be doing an ice wave with ice shards. You want to just make sure you're dodging that. She'll be summoning 2 large ice circles that will blast you if you're standing in those. And she also summons some wolves to attack you. She'll also spawn small circles that will also shoot up icicles, so make sure you're not standing on top of those. And then she does an ice nova as well. So she's all cold damage. Get cold resistance if you can. If you don't have it, just don't stand in the circles and you should be fine. Otherwise, you get one shot for the most part. Alright, the Brambleghast. When he reaches into his mouth, he's going to shoot out a purple orb that's going to shoot spikes from that orb. Just make sure you're running away from that. Next, when he slams his 2 fists into the ground, it's going to spawn 2 big branches with spiked purple balls on them that are going to slam on your location. Make sure you're dodge rolling or you have a bunch of defenses to take the hit. And periodically, he's going to spawn vines that will randomly whip at you. They're usually on the side of the arena. And then he'll also spawn these homing purple missile things that will chase you. You could run into them and run past them so they just explode. Or you could wait till they expire and they'll explode on their own. The Rust King. Starting off, he'll be doing an attack where he just spawns weapons above your head and they'll slam down on you. Just walk or roll out of that. Then he has an ability where he spawns swords that point outwards from him in kind of like a star shape, and those will shoot out eventually. Just make sure you're in between the weapons he's shooting so you don't get hit like I did. And like most of the early game bosses, there's going to be more ads that he'll summon, indicated by the lightning arc that he's going to shoot around him in a circle. He's going to start spinning around a bunch of weapons and shoot at you pretty quick. Just make sure you're rolling away. And then for his final mechanic, he's going to try to whip you. And then after that whip, immediately he's going to shoot a crap ton of weapons at you. And it's a humongous frontal, so make sure you're getting behind him or off to the side. Up next, the Rotten Druid. In the middle of his arena and on the sides, there are going to be a bunch of yellow mushrooms, and they'll spawn later in the fight as well. If you step on these, it will explode on you. The boss will periodically teleport himself to the other side of the arena while you're fighting him. One of his most devastating attacks is his barrage, where he's just going to be launching a bunch of missiles at you. Make sure you're just on a full-on sprint and dodge them all. The boss will do a huge brown nova that doesn't do damage, but spawns a shit ton of vines, so you want to make sure you're running away and not getting smacked by those vines. He'll also stand there channeling, basically. He's going to be summoning a big boulder from the middle arena. He's going to launch that boulder at you. Just make sure you time the dodge on it. Or take it to the face. He'll summon this brown circle around him. If you're in that brown circle, it's going to teleport you to the mushrooms in the middle arena, and they'll start exploding, so make sure you're rolling out of that. Or just don't get in the brown circle and don't get teleported. That's it for him. Rinse and repeat, baby, and kill him. Alright, the married couple, starting off with Asinia, the Consort. She's got the circle ability where she's going to be spawning 4 circles on the ground that are going to be chasing you, so you want to constantly be moving. There's going to be 3 small ones, and then the 4th one's always going to be one that's like double the size. She'll be doing Unearth just like the Necromancer's skill that's going to be shooting bones in a frontal cone. And then she'll yell doing a big green AoE Nova that's not doing damage, but it's going to be summoning spirits that she's going to be trying to suck into herself to summon ads or something like that. To stop this, you could run to the ads to make them disappear. She'll periodically summon her boyfriend to shoot out a wave of necrotic bolts. Make sure you're in between those shots. And then she'll also be doing a bone prison. You want to break the bone wall and get out of there because she's going to be dumping a bunch of crap on top of that circle. She also has a teleport where she'll teleport on top of you and try and melee you. and she'll curse you with the 30% slow. Her final ability, she'll yell out saying you're an insolent fool, and it's going to be shooting ghost skulls all around her, so make sure you're getting away from her at that time. You kill her and then go kill her husband, dog, know what I'm saying? Alright, now for the husband, Draven, the boy. He'll still be doing that wave attack with all the necrotic bolts, so make sure you're in between the bolts when he shoots them. Don't get shotgun. He has a pretty big melee combo where he swipes 4 goddamn times, so make sure you are dodging those. And he'll also do the same AoE Nova that will start summoning the spirits, so make sure you run into those bad boys and dodge the circles they leave behind. He'll be doing a big line frontal that will slam down and shoot out waves from where he initially hit. You want to either get behind the boss or just outrange the waves because they only go so far. In this fight, the wife will be coming to assist him this time, so she'll be doing her circle attack where it's going to be the circles on the ground, so you want to make sure you're running away from those as they're spawning underneath you. Alright, Lachlann, the bastard who betrays us. Starting off with this guy, he's always going to be doing his double slam where he slams in the front and he slams behind him. So make sure you're out of range. Good luck, warriors. He's got multiple spirit summon attacks. The first one's in a straight line. It will shoot out and leave a trail of ice that will slow you. And he's got the one where he stomps his foot on the ground and the spirit's going to actually be underground chasing you. It's going to pop out of the ground and it's going to start swirling around at the same time chasing you slowly. And then he's got the one where it shoots out of the ground and then it comes back down on your location. And when this boss turns red, he's going to be doing a heavy hitting frontal cone attack, so get out of dodge. Alright, the Crowbell 3-stage fight. Alright, this fight's pretty simple. He does a bunch of swipes and slams, nothing too dangerous, just don't be in front of him as much as you can. When you phase him to the second part of the fight, he actually enrages, so all the swipes and slams just hit harder. And then the third part of the fight, he'll rip the bell. He'll get that bell, and then he'll be doing some more swipes and slams with some frickin' spin attacks. Same thing, just basically you can just dodge roll every attack and just spam cast or melee attack to kill this fool. The King in the Mist. It's a 2-phase fight where most of his abilities are the exact same. They're just powered up and hit harder and do things. He's got a bunch of different things going on, like he'll spawn these blood pools that you don't want to stand in, otherwise you take damage over time. And then when he turns red, he'll be doing a huge AoE slam in front of him where he cocks back his staff and slams it on the ground. He'll spawn an effigy of you that will make you take more damage, so make sure you're killing that effigy as soon as possible. It's pretty weak. And then throughout the fight, he'll be cursing you. There's 2 different curses. One is red, and the red one, you don't want to be moving, otherwise you get stun locked for like 5 seconds or whatever it is. And then the other is purple, where you want to continuously be moving so you don't get stunned. He also has these frontal cones that he'll periodically spit out at you. And about a quarter health, he'll become a Spriggan and get his health back, and this will start phase 2. In this phase, he has a few new abilities added to the ones he's already been doing, like this one right here. He'll be spawning like a big bug ball that he'll be creating, making bigger, and it will go down to your location and slam on you. After it slams, it will spawn these purple zit things that will explode when you get close to them. And then also for the second phase, there'll be swarms of bugs that fly around that will damage you if you run into them, so make sure you're trying not to run into anything. The tricky thing about this fight is knowing what curse you have on you, especially in the second phase when you get stun locked, you are screwed. But once you figure out the curses, you should be good to go and be able to dodge everything like normal. Alright, the Executioner, baby. So this guy has 2 big slams with his axes that are indicated by him getting all red and glowy. The first one is just going to be a quick line frontal that he does. And then the second one's going to be one where he cocks his axe back and he charges it up and like molten metal goes on his axe, and that's going to slam down and do a big AoE circle. He'll randomly have ads running down to help him fight you. There's also going to be ads that will shoot ballistas at you, indicated by the red circles, and once they shoot those ballistas, it will also leave a patch of fire on the ground that will ignite you. His final ability is going to slam down a huge guillotine axe that will be indicated by dust pulsing away from the boss and him also saying guillotine drops. It's a huge slam AoE circle that you want to get away from him for. Alright, another pretty easy boss, Candlemass, right before the final boss of the act. He'll power up his sword from the candles on his back and just do a harder melee attack for one of his abilities. Another one he'll power up again, but this time he's going to like spin in a circle and like launch a fire slash at you. Then his fire breath, he's going to inhale and then breathe around in a circle, chasing you with his fire. So just keep spinning around him to not get hit. And then for his last ability, he's just going to like explode all the candles on his back and it's going to do a bunch of AoE, small AoEs all over the arena. Count Geonor, the final act boss, baby. This guy has like basically 3 phases, and let's get to it. His first few abilities are going to be indicated by him glowing red. One of them is going to be where he kind of locks on you. He's going to be shooting a frostbolt out of his sword, so you want to run and dodge that. And then one's going to be another one where he glows red, where he's going to charge at the wall. Don't get too close to him like I did, so you could dodge the swipe that comes immediately after the charge. And while he's a human, that's basically all he does, that in his melee combos, so just keep dodging, DPSing. After a while, he's going to slam his sword into the ground, putting a little frost circle around his sword. Don't stand on that. You could get frozen and get killed by his melees. But he's going to turn into a werewolf. That werewolf, he's going to have some new abilities, like he's going to howl. He's going to summon some ads to help him out. Make sure you AoE those bad boys. And then when he glows red and starts floating in the air and disappearing, you want to start booking it, because he's going to be coming right down on you pretty quick in a red circle. If you're not already running, you most likely will get hit by it. He'll also spawn 3 red orbs that he'll dash through, and when he dashes through, they're going to explode in a straight line from the side of him. Alright, when you give him around 50% health, he's going to turn into a bigger, crazier wolf, the Putrid wolf, and that's going to begin phase 2. And in phase 2, he'll have this ability where he's going to howl. There's going to be some mist that circles around the outside of the arena. You have to be in the middle of the arena during this. He's going to disappear. He's going to start summoning some ads. You have to deal with those ads, and at the same time, he's going to be talking shit in the background after each voice line he has, like a half second after each one. He's going to dash towards you, so where you're getting blasted by the ads, he's going to be flying in and trying to take you out as well, so make sure you are dodging that after he is done with his voice cues. In phase 2 comes some new frost abilities as well. He's got this frontal volley. That's just kind of a straight line where he just jabs a bunch of icicles in your face. Make sure you're getting out of the way of that. He'll lift his sword straight up in the air and he'll be stationary, but at the same time, he's going to be summoning beams of ice that will be shooting down all over the arena. And then he has this huge ice nova that's indicated when he slams his sword into the ground. You're going to start seeing a bunch of ice patches. And when he explodes the ice nova, these patches are going to turn into ice spikes, and you don't want to be standing on them to avoid all the damage. And at the very end of the fight, when you got him on low health and he's feeling desperate, he's going to be spawning all these blood spikes consistently throughout the fight until you're dead or he's dead. So hopefully you were able to kill his ass. Hopefully this helped you get through and understand the mechanics a little easier. If it did, like and subscribe. If it didn't, whatever.